especially as of late, get off the cold shooting starts, having to recover late. Siakam for three, and that ties the game. And Marc Gasol is back for the 5th game in a row after missing 12 with a hamstring. Norman Powell, who was great off the bench against Atlanta the other night, is back for a 6th game after that left shoulder injury. There's Gasol from Lowry.
And think about how brilliant Kyle Lowry was a season ago. He had a ton of options. Big topic of discussion whether or not he and Joel can coexist perfectly, because it hasn't looked great.
Right.
And I think that's the challenge, as another 3 goes down for Marc Gasol. Like, that's the challenge for Brett. The question is, and he said this all of last year, how do we land the plane? What do they do when it matters most?
Right. Gasol, the turnaround and a smooth shot. 5th game back after missing 12.
He's quick for quick guys.
Ibaka and Powell in off the bench. Ibaka has his shot blocked. And Philly back the other way with their largest lead. And it's a double-digit lead with a Harris 3.
That guy has been.
It's another 3.
They are lighting Toronto up from deep as Serge gets one for Toronto back. Yeah, this is a fascinating thing.
Ryan, he got dropped a little bit too. The flu got our man. So our best to Ryan. As Serge Ibaka puts in the hook. By the way, our condolences to Ryan and his family with the loss of his grip.
On the floor. Think about his first bucket. Back to the basket. Little mismatch, uses his size. You can play him in pick and roll as the ball handler. Like, he brings a ton to the table.
He's hit a 3 and a couple of buckets in the paint tonight. Van Vliet.
Vision.
Trying to stave off Horford again. Harris ran into the double. Simmons is right there in the paint. Nearly got that one to go down. But he'll draw the foul. That'll be a 3rd quick one on Ibaka here in the quarter. And Ben Simmons to the free throw line. First free throws of the night for Philadelphia. Toronto's 5 of 9.
I would assume Marc Gasol and Norman Powell, who will sometimes start and sometimes come off the bench, depending on matchup. Is the team big?
Well, we know what Gasol can do. He can pass it. A beautiful assist to Siakam. And just like that, it's back down to 5.
Well, this is what we know about Marc Gasol. At one time, the Defensive Player of the Year, he's always had vision and touch, knows how to play. Beautifully done. Comfortable, at the very least. And here's what has to happen is Toronto gets another basket and they move it well and pass it. And I love the vibe of this Raptors team. Like after, yes, because Brett Brown said it. Tell his agent, tell his friends, tell him, I need 1 3 a game.
Yeah.
And from that point, he's not taking one.
Gasol ties the game at 46. They come back from down 14.
So you need a bucket. Brett does not look like he's going to go timeout. Marc Gasol, boy, after that injury.
Sixers, Brett Brown is out near mid-court in Mark Lindsey's ear asking about that foul. Siakam cutting, Gasol with the feed. It's a 1-point game again.
Size. Mark is just surveying the...
Well, tip by Thibault. Good read off the Gasol feed, and he'll take it all the way. They wanted a foul on the trailing Gasol. Instead, it's a 7-point advantage for Philadelphia. Early 3rd. Timeout call by Nick Nurse in Toronto.
So there's that famous Sports Performance Laboratory P3. And when he's in high school, great ball reversal leads to a nice 3. P3 does a...
Picked it up as of late. Obviously, they're 14-4 when both George and Leonard play, but George dealing with a hamstring injury right now. The feathery touch by Gasol.
Sometimes a time...
Offense and open. Lowry slipped it to Siakam. Nice pocket pass to Serge Ibaka. And Brett Brown's going to call a timeout as Toronto's work back within 5. These percentages will go down. Lowry to Ibaka. Simmons slapped down, and a foul is called against Philly. Ibaka in the paint. Gets the friendly roll, and he's into double figures. Korkmaz trying to stick with Van Vliet. Around the screen. Buries a 3. 1-point game. Van Vliet into double figures.
I think shadowed as a shot maker, shooter, legit, pure shooter because of what Golden State did dominating with Steph and Clay. But he's one of the elite shot makers in the NBA.
Ibaka buries a three. Toronto extends it out to 8. Timeout Philadelphia. The Raptors on a 15.
Lou Williams, who am I leaving out? Anyway, their best lineup has played, I think, a total of 46 minutes.
I saw that today as well. Ibaka on the run out, puts Toronto up by 6. Brett Brown calls timeout.
Just in a possession game, all of it's critical. So your turnovers, depending on where they are, and this is an open floor turnover, live ball leads to this. So frustrating.
In the opening quarter, fought back to tie it at halftime. A big fourth quarter led by Fred Van Vliet, who finishes the game with 22 points, 6 of 7 from three-point range. Norman Powell had 18. Siakam with a double-double tonight. Gasol had 17. And this healthy Raptors